When struggling waitress Sophia Bennett witnesses a murder outside her café, she flees to a luxury hotel where a desperate lie changes everything. Pretending to be married to mysterious stranger Lucas Hamilton saves her life, but she has no idea. She's just claimed one of the richest men in America as her fake husband. Dear friends, prepare for a story that will grip your heart and leave you breathless. Let the story unfold. The morning rain drummed against the windows of Sunnyside Cafe. As Sophia Bennett wiped down tables for the third time that hour, her brown hair was pulled back in a messy bun, and coffee stains decorated her yellow apron like badges of exhaustion. At 24, she had the tired eyes of someone carrying burdens far beyond her years. Her phone buzzed with another reminder about her mother's medical bills. The cancer treatments were draining every penny she earned from her 2 jobs. Working as a waitress during the day and cleaning offices at night barely kept them afloat. But Sophia refused to give up hope. Table 7 needs their check, called Marcus, the grumpy manager who seemed to enjoy making her life difficult. Sophia forced a smile and grabbed the receipt pad, weaving through the crowded cafe toward the businessman in the expensive suit. As she approached his table, movement outside the window caught her attention. 2 men in black suits were dragging something heavy toward a black van parked in the alley behind the cafe. Her blood ran cold when she realized that something was actually someone. A man in bloodied clothes who wasn't moving. The businessman at table 7 was still waiting, but Sophia's hands trembled as she watched one of the men pull out a gun and check the body. Her gasp was loud enough to draw attention from nearby customers. "Miss, could I get my check, please?" the businessman asked impatiently. Sophia tried to act normal, but her eyes kept darting to the window. The men were looking around now, scanning the area for witnesses. One of them pointed directly at the cafe window, where she stood frozen. Their eyes met through the glass. Panic flooded her system like ice water. The man nudged his partner, and both started walking toward the cafe entrance. Sophia dropped the receipt pad and backed away from the window. "I need to take my break," she called to Marcus, not waiting for permission as she untied her apron and rushed toward the back exit. The alley was empty now, except for a dark stain on the concrete where the body had been. Sophia's heart pounded. As she ran toward the main street, her sneakers splashing through puddles, she could hear heavy footsteps behind her, getting closer. The Grand Plaza Hotel loomed ahead, its golden entrance promising safety among crowds of wealthy guests. Sophia burst through the revolving doors, uniform marking her as clearly out of place among the designer suits and evening gowns. Didn't slow down until she crashed directly into someone coming out of the hotel bar. The impact sent them both stumbling, but strong arms caught her before she could fall. "I'm so sorry," she gasped, looking up into the most incredible blue eyes she'd ever seen. The man was tall with dark hair, perfectly styled despite the early hour. His charcoal suit probably cost more than her monthly rent, and his watch caught the lobby lights like captured starlight. He was devastatingly handsome in a way that made her forget how to breathe properly. "Are you hurt?" he asked, his voice smooth and concerned as he steadied her. Behind them, Sophia spotted the 2 men from the alley pushing through the revolving doors. They were scanning the lobby with predatory focus. Desperation made her bold. "You're my husband," she blurted out, grabbing the stranger's arm. His eyebrows shot up. "Excuse me?" "Please," she whispered urgently, seeing the men getting closer. "Just play along. I'm in trouble." Something in her terrified expression must have convinced him, because he immediately wrapped his arm around her waist and pulled her close. "Darling," he said loudly enough for half the lobby to hear. "There you are. Was wondering where you'd gone." The 2 men stopped their search when they saw her wrapped in the arms of an obviously wealthy stranger. They exchanged glances and backed off, presumably unwilling to cause a scene in such an upscale venue. "Thank you," Sophia breathed against his chest, inhaling the expensive cologne that made her head spin. "Don't thank me yet," he murmured into her hair. "I think we're both in more trouble than you realize." She looked up at him, confused, but he was watching something over her shoulder. Following his gaze, she saw 3 different men in suits had entered the lobby and were also scanning for someone. "Friends of yours?" she asked weakly. "Not exactly. I'm Lucas Hamilton, by the way." His smile was grim, but somehow still charming. And you just became my wife at a very interesting time. Sophia Bennett. And what do you mean interesting? Lucas guided her toward the elevator bank, moving with casual confidence despite the obvious danger. Mrs. Hamilton, it seems we're both being hunted by people who don't like to take no for an answer. The elevator arrived with a soft ding, and Lucas ushered her inside. As the doors closed, Sophia caught a glimpse of both groups of men converging in the lobby, looking frustrated and confused. I don't understand, she said, as they rose toward the upper floors. Who are those men? Some of them work for Vincent Cross, a man who doesn't appreciate being told he can't buy whatever he wants. Lucas's jaw tightened, including my company, and apparently my life. Your company? Hamilton Technologies? We develop software for financial markets. Looked at her with those incredible blue eyes. 3 days ago, I discovered my business partner sold us out to Cross without my knowledge. When I tried to back out of the deal, things got violent. The elevator stopped at the penthouse level. The men following me are probably Cross's people. 2. He doesn't like loose ends. Lucas led her down a hallway lined with expensive art. What did you see, Sophia? Her voice was barely a whisper. I think I witnessed a murder. Lucas stopped walking and turned to face her completely. And then, we're definitely both in serious trouble. He used a key card to open a door marked Presidential Suite. The room beyond was enormous, with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city and furniture that belonged in a magazine spread. You're staying here? She asked, looking around the opulent space. I own the hotel. His casual admission made her feel dizzy. It's one of many investments. Not exactly the romantic getaway I'd planned for my fake honeymoon. Sophia sank onto a cream-colored sofa that was softer than her entire bed at home. This is insane. This morning I was worried about affording groceries. Now I'm hiding from murderers while pretending to be married to someone who owns hotels. Lucas poured himself a drink from a crystal decanter and offered her one. She shook her head, needing to stay sharp. Tell me exactly what you saw, he said gently, sitting across from her. She described the scene outside the café, the blood, the way the men had looked right at her through the window. Lucas's expression grew darker with each detail. Cross is eliminating witnesses to cover his tracks. That body was probably someone who got too close to discovering his real business operations. He set down his glass with deliberate care. Won't stop looking for you, Sophia. And now that you've been seen with me, you're connected to both problems. What are we going to do? We're going to disappear. Lucas's smile returned, but there was steel behind it. I have resources, safe houses, people who owe me favors. But it means leaving your old life behind, at least temporarily. Sophia thought about her tiny apartment, her demanding jobs, the mountain of bills waiting on her kitchen table. Then, she thought about her mother in the hospital, depending on her. I can't just vanish. My mother needs her treatments, and I have responsibilities. I'll take care of your mother's medical expenses, Lucas said without hesitation. The best doctors, private rooms, whatever she needs. I can't let you do that. We barely know each other. You saved my life today by providing the perfect cover. Let me save yours in return. But as the words left his mouth, Lucas's phone buzzed with a text message. His face went white as he read it, and Sophia saw his hand shake slightly.
What?
Is it? Lucas looked up at her, and for the first time since they'd met, she saw real fear in his eyes. Cross doesn't just want to buy my company anymore. He wants to destroy it. And he's already started by taking the one person who matters, most to me. Who? Sophia asked, though she already dreaded the answer. Lucas showed her the message. A photo of a young woman with Lucas's same blue eyes, bound to a chair in what looked like a warehouse. Below it, an address and a simple demand. Come. Alone or she dies. My sister Emma. She's only 19. His voice cracked. Cross must have taken her from her dorm room at Columbia. Sophia felt her heart shatter for him. We have to call the police. Police can't help with this. Cross owns half the precinct. Lucas was already moving, grabbing a gun from a hidden safe behind a painting. I have to go to him. It's obviously a trap. I know. but I can't let Emma die because of my mistakes." He turned to face her, and she saw the weight of impossible choices crushing him. "I need you to stay here. Lock the door. Don't answer. If for anyone, I'm coming with you." "Absolutely not. You've done enough already. Lucas, listen to me." Sophia grabbed his arm, forcing him to meet her eyes. "I grew up in the worst neighborhood in the city. I know how men like Cross think. If you go in there alone and unarmed with anything useful, you're both dead. What are you suggesting?" "I'm suggesting we don't give him what he expects." She moved to the window, studying the city skyline. "You said Cross doesn't like loose ends? Well, I'm his biggest loose end. He needs me dead more than he needs your company. That's exactly why you're staying here. No, that's exactly why I'm the key to saving your sister." Sophia turned back to him, her mind racing with a desperate plan. What if we make him think he's getting everything he wants? An hour later, they stood outside the abandoned warehouse where Cross was waiting. The rain had stopped, but the air still smelled of wet concrete and danger. "Remember," Lucas whispered as they approached the entrance, "no matter what happens in there, no matter what I say, don't trust anyone. Not even me." "What do you mean?" But before he could answer, the warehouse doors swung open. Vincent Cross stepped out, flanked by 6 armed men. He was older than Sophia had expected, with silver hair and cold eyes that missed nothing. Mr. Hamilton and the lovely witness. Cross smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. How romantic. Coming to die together. "Let Emma go," Lucas said. "This is between you and me." "Oh, but it's not just between us anymore, is it?" Cross gestured. And 2 of his men dragged Emma forward. She was alive but terrified, tears streaming down her face. "You see, your sister had some very interesting information about your company's real assets, things you never told me about." Lucas went rigid. "What things? The offshore accounts? The cryptocurrency wallets? The real reason you didn't want to sell to me?" Cross's smile widened. "Your company isn't just worth 50 million, Lucas. It's worth 10 times that, and you've been hiding it very cleverly." Sophia saw the color drain from Lucas's face, and suddenly understood. The safe houses, the private jets, the casual way he'd offered to pay for her mother's treatment. Lucas wasn't just wealthy, was one of the richest men in the country, and he'd been lying to her from the beginning. "Surprised, my dear." Cross had noticed her expression. "Did you really think a simple software company could afford private islands and presidential suites? Lucas Hamilton is worth more than some small countries, and thanks to his sister's helpful information, now I know exactly how much." Emma looked up at her brother with guilty, terrified eyes. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I said they'd kill you. If I didn't tell them about the accounts." Lucas's voice was barely a whisper. "Emma, what did you tell them?" "Everything. The Swiss accounts, the Cayman holdings, the blockchain assets. All of it." Cross clapped slowly. "Family reunions are so touching. Now here's what's going to happen. You're going to transfer every penny to my accounts, and then I'm going to kill all 3 of you anyway, because I really don't like loose ends." But as Cross spoke, Sophia noticed something that made her blood run cold. One of his men was holding a phone, and on the screen she could see a live feed from the hospital where her mother was being treated. Cross had been planning this. From the beginning, now everyone she cared about was in his hands. "My mother," Sophia whispered, staring at the phone screen showing her mother's hospital room. "Insurance policy," Cross said casually. "Amazing how easy it is to get into hospitals these days. One word from me, and the lovely Mrs. Bennett gets a little extra medication in her for the kind that stops hearts." Lucas stepped forward, rage burning in his eyes. "You bastard." "She has nothing to do with this. She does now." Cross gestured. To his men, "Transfer the money, Lucas. All of it, or I start killing the people you both care about one by one." Sophia felt the walls closing in around them. Cross had anticipated everything, planned for every contingency. But as she watched Emma crying and thought about her mother lying helpless in that hospital bed, something inside her hardened into steel. "Wait," she said, her voice steady despite the terror coursing through her veins. "You're making this too? Complicated." Cross raised an eyebrow. Oh, you want Lucas's money, and you want me dead because I witnessed your murder? But you're going about it all wrong. She took a step forward, ignoring Lucas's sharp intake of breath. You don't need to torture his family or threaten my mother. I'll make you a deal. Sophia, don't, Lucas warned. I'll give you what you really want, she continued, not taking her eyes off Cross. A confession, on video. Yeah. Me admitting that I lied about witnessing any murder? That I was just a hysterical girl trying to get attention. With that recording, you're completely in the clear. Cross studied her with interest. And in exchange, you let Emma and my mother go. Lucas keeps half his money. I disappear forever. You'll never see me again, Sophia. No. Lucas grabbed her arm. You don't understand what you're offering. I understand perfectly. She looked at him with eyes full of love and sorrow. I'm offering you the chance to save the people who actually matter to you. You matter to me. We've known each other for 2 days, Lucas. They're your family. She turned back to Cross. Do we have a deal? Cross smiled, genuinely amused now. You know what? I like you, Miss Bennett. You have spine very well. But there's one small change to your proposal. What change? You don't disappear. You come. Work for me. It's for a particular combination of courage and desperation. You'd make an excellent addition to my organization. The warehouse fell silent except for the sound of Emma's quiet sobbing. And if I refuse, then everyone dies, starting with your mother in approximately 10 minutes. Sophia closed her eyes, feeling the weight of the impossible choice. When she opened them again, her decision was made. I'll do it. First, I need to know something. She looked at Lucas, memorizing every detail of his face. Was any of it real? It's the way you looked at me, the things you said about us making a good team? Or was it all just part of whatever game you were playing? No. Lucas's voice broke as he answered. It was the most real thing that's ever happened to me. Then remember that. Sophia turned to Cross. I'm ready to make your video. But his Cross's men moved to escort her away. Lucas suddenly lunged forward, tackling 2 of them and grabbing their guns. Run! He shouted to Sophia and Emma. There's a car outside. Get to the airport. Gunfire erupted in the warehouse as Lucas fought desperately to buy them time. Sophia grabbed Emma, and they ran toward the exit, but Cross's remaining men were already moving to cut them off. Go! Emma screamed, pushing Sophia toward the door. I'll slow them down. Emma, no. But Emma was already running back into the warehouse, back toward her brother and the gunfire. Sophia hesitated for one agonizing second, torn between saving herself and saving the people who had become her family in just 2 impossible days. Then she heard Lucas scream Emma's name, heard the sound of a single gunshot, and made her choice. She ran back into the warehouse, into the chaos and the gunfire and the smoke, because some things were worth dying for. And love, she had discovered, was the most worth it of all. When the smoke cleared an hour later, when the police finally arrived to find Vincent Cross dead and his operation in ruins, they found Lucas and Sophia holding each other in the middle of the destruction. Emma was wounded but alive, and Cross's men were either dead or fleeing. Is it over? Sophia whispered against Lucas's chest. It's over, he confirmed, though his voice carried the weight of everything they'd lost and found. We're safe. But as they walked out of that warehouse together, Sophia realized that safety wasn't what mattered anymore. What mattered was that she'd found someone worth fighting for, worth dying for, worth living for, in Lucas Hamilton's arms, as sirens wailed in the distance, and the first stars appeared in the clearing sky. Sophia Bennett discovered that sometimes the most dangerous thing you can do is let yourself fall in love with someone who's worth saving. 6 months later, standing at the altar of a small church in Martha's Vineyard, wearing a dress that cost more than her old apartment rent, Sophia looked into Lucas's eyes and knew that their story was just beginning. Do you take this woman? The minister asked. To be your wife? In good times and in bad, in sickness and in health. For richer or poorer, until death do you part. I do, Lucas said, his voice strong and sure. I absolutely do. And when he kissed her, Sophia tasted freedom and hope and a love that had been born in chaos, but had grown into something beautiful and unbreakable. The end.